Welcome back to the second instalment of Global Sport in Colour podcast exclusively for The Voice newspaper. I'm joined by Rodney Hines and Michael Facey. The first show went down well. There was a lot of positive feedback to all those that watched it. Thanks very much.
Keep watching. It's going to be good.
We salute.
It's going to get gooder and gooder.
I agree. And we're going to kick off this week. Where should we start? I reckon we should start with arguably the biggest boxer of his time, rolling through the UK. Had a few unfortunate incidents, or one unfortunate incident with his car being set alight in Birmingham. He denied it. I am, of course, talking about Floyd Money Mayweather, here to promote his co-promotional fight with Frank Warren on May 20th between Gervonta Davis and Liam Walsh. What do you reckon, boys? A fight that we're really interested in, or is it just...
In a word?
Go on.
No, not really. I mean, most of the hype surrounds Floyd himself, doesn't it? I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, you said what his moniker is, money. A man like that can't come to arguably the biggest city in the world and not draw the attraction that he does. I think it's a bless for Frank Warren, because his resurgence seems to be moving again.
Well, I did ask Frank, actually, what he's doing involved in the sport at this late stage of his career, especially as he's told us, Mike, that a few years ago, didn't he, that he didn't really want to be, a promoter anymore. He advised his sons not to get involved in it, to be honest with you. So, what he's still doing there, Frank, I did ask him, and our viewers can watch that interview in a week or so's time, because there was some other explosive stuff on there we're not going to reveal just yet. BT maybe forced his hand, that deal?
The one thing, or the two things Frank is a businessman and an opportunist. And he's done both of those things very, very well over the years. Anything that Eddie Hearn is doing at Matchroom, we have to applaud. But the original was Frank Warren. True. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's not done for yet. And when Frank says he's probably not wanting to do this and not wanting to do that, expect him to turn up and do it. You know?
He's obviously the brainchild, or one of the brainchilds, I should say, of Box Nation, which gave him another platform to espouse his views.
And allowed him to bring Floyd's fighter over to fight Liam and make it a headline.
True business, isn't it?
I take it you don't think it should be a headline fight, Face?
I'm not sure. I mean, I wasn't interested when I saw the press release come through and come down. Is it a headline now?
No, it's not. I mean, but it is Floyd Money Mayweather attached to it.
Both unbeaten fighters, though, guys.
Yeah. There's a lot of unbeaten fighters, but listen, with all due respect to Floyd, he brings a certain magic and charisma that nobody else has currently.
True.
And it's not disrespectful in regards to what the fighters have done. So we're not highlighting disrespect for the fighters. We're just saying that there's levels and stages.
And those levels that Mike talks about are true, because with all due respect, they're good potential fighters with the future ahead of them, but the kudos and the respect or the profile that this fighter's getting, they're getting it because of Floyd's.
I don't know. I like Gervonta. I don't think he's the greatest talker, and maybe that's part of his armory that he's going to have to really, really work on in order to endear himself to, the world, a global audience. You're going to have to be able to articulate yourself a bit better, boy. But at the same time, he's a great fighter. Let's not use the word great.
I was going to say.
We do that.
We do that too early.
Way too early. We do that way too early. But he showed great potential to be a good fighter. And he's a world champion, IBF world champion. And that fight he fought earlier in the year against Pedraza, albeit in his own backyard, and everything was geared towards him winning the fight. It was a great fight. And he's got a belt now. So the opportunity is here for him to really get some British fans following him as well, and I think that's what it needs. That's what he needs. He needs some British interest to kind of put some wind in his sails. And I reckon once we start shouting his name and saying, that Gervonta geezer, he looks all right, doesn't he? He's got to get through Walsh though. Walsh is no idiot.
He's no slouch.
He's no idiot. Like I said, they're both unbeaten.
They are both unbeaten, but is it a headline? That's all that matters, really.
That question won't go away. Listen, at the end of the day, Devontae's got to go into the ring and do the business himself. In terms of learning from Floyd, can only be good for him. You said he's not maybe the greatest talker in the world. That will change, I'm sure. But listen, let's just watch this space with those guys.
Well, let's have a little listen to what both fighter and promoter had to say.
When I first signed with Floyd, I was just a new kid again on the block. I had my first fight on TV under Floyd versus Berto. He gave me a chance to showcase my skills. So a fight later, you know, I fought on TV again. You know, I was knocking my opponents out so quick. You know, they questioned my skills. They didn't believe in, you know, what I can bring to the sport, the excitement.
You know, I told him just now, we was up here talking, training camp will be in Las Vegas. I want him to focus, that he's able to go to the boxing gym when he want to go to the boxing gym. We want to close the boxing gym so he can have his private training sessions, because we want to make sure, because it's starting to get, the fights are starting to get bigger. So when the fights are starting to get bigger, we have to take this extremely serious. We can't take nothing like this for a joke.
Yeah, that was. You saw what I meant about the talking, innit?
Yeah.
It's Gervonta, don't worry, you got a lot of fans over here. You're gonna have even more, I think, after the Liam Walsh fight. I think he'll win. I don't think he's coming to lose and not lose his title so early, but you're gonna have to work on the way you articulate yourself, son. And Floyd does a lot of talking, doesn't he? He's still the main draw. He's still the main attraction.
Floyd is Floyd.
Do you not think that that's a bit unfortunate that he's still the main attraction?
Unfortunate for the sport or for Gervonta?
Yeah, for any fighter that comes up under the TMT stable, because while it's a good thing, you'll get a platform. People will be like, "Oh yeah, he's a Floyd fighter." Floyd does all the talking.
But I've got something to say about that. We can argue that actually, because you've just pointed out, can they talk like Floyd and deliver that and articulate themselves and get that message across like he does and promote? And then if they are good at doing that, Adrian Broner, can they win like Floyd and win sexy as well? So
I mean, listen, I think if you literally got Floyd Mayweather in your corner, it can only be a plus. You know, I think if you're a fighter like Gervonta or anybody else that comes through, and you're in 2017, you might get your opportunity back end of 2017, early 2018, as opposed to 2019, simply because you're a Floyd Mayweather fighter.
Yeah,
and that's good. It can, if you're a smart fighter and you've got the ability, and you work smart the way Floyd did, I think you can move forward pretty quickly.
Just before we move off of Floyd, because I know we want to talk about Hey Bellew and the fallout from that fight, can we just watch a clip on Floyd addressing, or not addressing, I should say, the whole Conor McGregor thing? Let's just watch this.
Well, right now, it's these two young fighters up here. It's about them. It's not about me and McGregor. I got my promoter hat on. It's about these two fighters. It's not about McGregor. I'm happy that we were able to make this fight, you know, and I don't know what the future holds for any one of these fighters, but I know May 20th, I want everybody that's tuning in right now, fly to London and come see this fight. You have to. Two undefeated fighters, and it's crazy that Gervonta Tank Davis is fighting another undefeated fighter, and he's the youngest world champion in the sport of boxing. But one thing about him, I always tell him this: never overlook any fighter. That's why I was able to go 49-0, because I never overlook any fighter. You can never overlook any fighter, because anything can happen at the blink of an eye.
What do you reckon? Will that fight happen? In a word face.
yeah,
Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather.
why not? Floyd always talks about money, Floyd, money. He's burning a lot of money, so you're gonna need to top up the tank. Why not?
Good.
Yes.
It will
It's
happen.
business. It's an often used term, you know.
Should it happen then?
Yeah, because the numbers will stack up. Wherever that is in the world, Dubai, London, New York, wherever, I'll want to watch it.
I don't know. I want to watch the press conferences. I'll pay for the press conferences.
Yeah, because what that fight will do, and I think sport is laced with it, it'll create intrigue. You know, so you don't have to be an aficionado to know what's going on, but you'll know about Floyd and Mayweather, maybe more so than you know about McGregor.
Yeah.
But you'll know they're coming from two different disciplines. Someone somewhere, people like ourselves, will cope the figures that are going to be sold on it. So yeah, intrigue. Let's make it happen.
You know, it's funny because I spoke to Leonard Ellaby afterwards. Yeah, big man.
Yeah.
And asked him, he wouldn't be drawn on whether the fight would happen.
That probably means it's going to happen then.
I think so. I'm not sure if I want to see it happen though. I'm not sure if Conor McGregor deserves it. I love McGregor. Everybody knows I'm a McGregor fan, but I just look at what Floyd's done in his career as an amateur, an Olympian, and gone on to be the unbeaten TBE, as they like to say. And, you know, that's years. McConaughey's Connor's come up and it's like 2 minutes.
I think in regards to a sporting point of view, no way should there be a crossover like MMA and boxing meeting, and that happening with two professionals. One of them is a professional MMA fighter and the other's a professional boxer. So no, but from a business point of view, fantastic.
Both men won't be sleeping outside in the cold during the winter months. But what a fight like that will do will just generate even more for them.
Yeah.
Talk about generating for the fighters. Hay Bellew. I mean, reported 6-7 mil. It's split between the two of them.
Yeah,
generated good money.
4 mil for Hay.
Let's talk about the fight though.
I think we talked about it last week and we used the term brutal, didn't we? I think that's what it delivered in the end.
Not in the way that we thought though.
No. All credit to David because of round 5, round 6, he was a beaten man in terms of the injury. But heart of a lion, heart of a champion. But we also talked about Bellew's heart, didn't we, this time last week? We said, listen, okay, technically might not be as slick as Hay, but
definitely not.
It's a man that you want with you in the trenches, and so it proved. And I say well done to Tony Bellew.
Yeah, definitely. But well done, Tony. But you beat a man on one leg and the stars aligned. Let's have it right. The stars aligned.
But the argument's sake to that is it was well within the rules of boxing. The stars aligned, and yeah, definitely.
Credit to
He did break his hand though, didn't he?
And so many sporting events and victories or defeats, depending on what angle you're at, are based on the stars aligning.
Yeah.
Leicester City last year winning the Premier League, the 5 teams below them or the 5 teams that you'd expect to be in the championship race never got their act together at any stage, and all the stars aligned. I don't think there was any injuries for Leicester City, so it happens, and that gives us people like me and you stuff to talk about.
Is that the last time we see David Hayter?
No, I don't think. I think even after his post-fight speech in the ring, giving it to Bellew because he's probably learnt from making excuses. It's well within the rules. He's not a loser. I don't see the guy as a loser. I can't see him lying down, being happy with the 4 million he's taken in and saying, well, why can't I do that again? And
not the way he wants to go out.
No, that's
and win.
Not the way he wants to go out. And dare I say this, he showed enough in defeat, has enough ability, I still think, in the tank, to still be box office, depending on who the opponent is. Is there a fight against a Price or a rematch? Listen, better than most. Boxing is more about politics than maybe any other sport. It can happen. Right. And once again, as we said about McGregor and Mayweather, the numbers stack up,
I mean, I don't think he's done, and I hope he's not done, but I do know, we know Mike firsthand, that coming back from an Achilles reattachment is no mean feat, mate. It's no mean feat.
But there was an article that went out, the footballer turned boxer, I can't remember his name, Mackenzie.
Yep.
He actually had an Achilles rupture, but his one took 9 months, including rehab, and that's because of the surgery time. And because Hayes had his surgery straight away, he's 6 months out.
Yeah,
and that's normally the time.
And we also got to remember that David Hayes is not a young man.
He's 37.
He's 37. So let's just say he's back in the groove. I don't know when the birthday is, but let's say he's back in the groove at 38, ready to fight again. We all know how sport moves on quickly without you, don't we?
Right.
No one's waiting for David Hayes.
No.
It'll just now move seamlessly on, won't it?
Things could have changed. There's, like you said, there's still matchups out there for him.
Yeah,
if the timing was right and everything kind of lined up,
and
Dylan White would.
There's another 2 million in the tank for him to earn. So one last fight, 2 mil, walk away, and then you've got 6 in 2 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's definitely stuff for him to do. Get well soon, David.
Definitely.
Moving on to another sport. Talking about returning from adversity, injury. It'd be remiss of us not to talk about Asha Philip, who's on page 33 of this week's Voice. A woman of her word. Went to Belgrade, won a gold medal in the 60 metres for Great Britain. New national record. Said she was going to do it. She broke her leg, 10 years ago? 10 years ago. We've got an interview on The Voice's YouTube channel, which kind of details that story. But for me, it was talking to her when she'd won the recent national trials in Sheffield that let me know that she was in a good place, in a different place than I've ever seen her, to be honest. I've been covering this girl since she was 14, she's 26 now. So for me to see her win that medal was a great achievement on her part. I'm really satisfied.
Definitely. I mean, Asha, she's always been promising. She's had it, got injured again doing track and field, broke down. She's been working to come back. I mean, when we did sit down with her, we saw a winner. We saw somebody that was determined to win and take it all. So now she's a champion. For me, it's that point now. Can she kick on from being an outdoor champion to being, an indoor champion to being an outdoor champion, where the money's at? And we'll see.
Let's have a listen to what she, because one of the things that struck me when we sat down with her, Mike, was the advice that she gave to Perry Shakes Drayton, who was injured. Let's hear a little bit of what she had to say.
With Perry, she's like family to me now, and I couldn't not let her know the truth, because there's people like to sugarcoat things, and they'll just basically say, well, yeah, this has happened to you. You can get back within a couple of years, maybe, and it's always a maybe, or they're not. Obviously, injuries are never a definite, I must say, but the fact that no one would give her what she really needed to hear. And I was like, well, Perry, I thought if that was me, I would like to know the truth back then and know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because back then everyone just kind of wrote me off and was like, yeah, well, that's it, you're done, basically. And at such a young age, 17, how could you write me off so young, knowing I've got so much to give and so much time to come back? And obviously Perry was much older than me at the time when she did her injury, but I still believe, said, no, if I can do it, you can. And you might have to change a lot of things. Obviously, she's not doing the hurdles as much, or I'm going to put that on hold and say as much, because she could come back and do that. But no, I just basically said, this is what happens. I'm going to feel this pain, you're going to feel that pain. We're going to learn to live with it, because that is now you. This is the new body that you're going to have to deal with, and it's just how you cope with it and maintain it and keep it healthy and progress.
You put down the type of time that puts you in contention for medals in Belgrade. I know that's what you want. Possibly top the podium?
Definitely, I will be. I'm going there for a medal. I'm not coming back empty-handed. I refuse. And if I do, like I said yesterday, I'm not doing indoors next year. So it's a lot riding on this competition.
So yeah, as we said, she told us that she was going there to get a medal, and if she didn't, it would have been considered a failure. She didn't fail, she delivered. She broke a record that I saw set in 2008 by Jeanette Quatchy at the World Indoor Championships. I know Jeanette will be watching this. We'd like to have you on the show as well one day, Jeanette. What a feat, though, because that record stood for near 10 years, and I didn't think anybody in the current crop was going to get close to it. Maybe Dina Asher-Smith, who equalled it, but getting past it was going to be a difficult feat. What it shows me is that whatever she's done in the winter has really prepared her. So I think her outdoor season could be quite good.
Listen, these are the stories I love. I mean, Asher's 26. 26. She seems to have been around forever. I mean, as long as I've been sports editor here, Asher's been around as such. That victory, as Mike said, in Belgrade, could be the catalyst, couldn't it? I mean, she's had so much adversity, but what that tells me about her, that there's something inside, and I think we always talk about it, don't you? You need to have that ability, but that ability alone is not going to get you over the line. No. And, her adversity has put her in a good space. Because as I think I said last week, sometimes you find out a little bit more about yourself when things are going backwards. Well done to this young lady. And I, for one, am really excited if she can now convert this success into something a little bit more interesting. Listen,
she made the podium as part of the 4x1 squad in Rio. Yeah. They got herself a bronze medal. That taste for success, I think, has carried through to this season. Let's see what happens at the Worlds, which are taking place back in our London Stadium. Just a stone's throw from where she was born. So, Ash, if you're watching, I know you're watching, and you're going to share this amongst your whole network. Well done.
Absolutely.
Keep going, and we'll hopefully celebrating more of your success in the future. We can't move on without a special word on Lorraine Ugan as well, who jumped to a silver. Was it a silver medal?
Silver, British record, 6:97. Whose record was it before?
I can't see.
Was it Shara's?
Put me on the spot now. Probably Shara, yeah.
It was Shara's, wasn't it?
Probably Shara.
And Shara's, when we saw the record done, because we were there, it was amazing.
6:97 is jumping. So well done, Lorraine. I don't think you've been embraced by the scene in the way that you should have, but I'll touch on that.
We'll be by the voice, though.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We'll touch on that another time as well. Moving on to our favourite subject, football.
Oh dear. I'm the meat in the sandwich, aren't I?
Well,
Yeah.
we're going to start with Arsenal and their exit
I
from...
want to stop you right there because what I've done on this segment, I brought my tissues.
He's brought his Kleenex,
Yeah.
is he? This segment is sponsored by... Is it Kleenex?
Kleenex, yeah.
Right.
Kleenex.
Listen, Bayern Munich... Hold on, we've got to go. It's 10-2. Sorry, we've got to wrap this up.
10-2.
It was embarrassing, Rodney. It was really embarrassing. And
Yeah.
not just for Arsenal fans who have been moaning for whatever it seems like all season, but for Arsene Wenger, man.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, listen, how long have we got of this show left? Because we could do an Arsenal segment that could last an hour or so. Yeah, I think embarrassing is the word. To be beaten, and let's admit, Bayern are one of the best teams in Europe.
Yeah.
However, both performances, a fortnight ago and during the course of the week, while the manager has to take ultimate responsibility, I think the players, I think we talked about it earlier on today, didn't we? A lack of heart, a lack of spirit, and a lack of leadership. And for me, and we've done our sports thing over the years for massively combined totals over years, when you hit a sports person with that charge that you have a lack of spirit, and in the East End they call that bottle, that is the most insulting thing you can put towards any sports person, because if you get beaten by a technically better side or individual, you can live with that. But when you don't turn up and show some fight, I think that's the most disappointing thing, and I just think it just further gets us closer to the end of the Wenger era.
I've got a question though for you as an Arsenal fan. Have they ever had spirit, this current crop of players this year?
No.
So they've just been exposed.
I mean, maybe the last time Arsenal showed some spirit, I think, might have been a Champions League qualifier. I think they went to Olympiacos and turned it around with the Giroud hat-trick. I think if you want to look also at...
Bournemouth?
And possibly, yeah. But should they have been in that scenario against a Bournemouth? And I know you can't take anything for granted. And as I said, it's a charge that, the players will rail against. Because if you're beaten, as Arsenal have been over the years, by a Messi-inspired Barcelona, you can say, you know what, hands up. But to go down with the proverbial whimper is not a good look.
We spoke about this before we started recording, and it's been an issue for us back and forth. The pride, I think was just out the window on behalf of the players. They're down to 10 men. That's one thing.
Chasing the game is another.
Chasing the game is another, but come on, man, show some pride, man.
I told you, I don't even watch them no more. It's big Champions League game, we do sports, and I didn't even watch the game. I told you what I do, I just turn on Arsenal Fan TV just to hear what the guys are going to say. Because it's either going to be a great rant, or they're going to big up Arsene Wenger and say we're winning the league. Either way, it's going to be entertainment. So
far more entertaining than the game for neutrals, I suppose, or some neutrals. Talking about Arsenal Fan TV, I think a guy who's probably just as big a gooner as yourself, Rodney, is Robbie. We had a word with him recently about whether it should be Wenger in, Wenger out, and got some of his thoughts on what's transpiring down at the Emirates. Let's catch up with that.
The fans are looking at it like, now, right, that's all done now. We've got the money, the stadium's paid off, we can spend money. Let's start competing now to win the title. And we're just not competing at the moment. We're up there. But we're not really, like last season, for instance, we were way off Leicester. We
should never challenge for the title.
We were way off Leicester, and even though we finished above Spurs, if I'm being honest, we were kind of way off Spurs. The fans want to see us competing. They want to see that, like, even if we don't win it, like, there's 2 games to go and we're having to take our calculator out to work out who's going to win it. You know what I mean? But at the moment, a lot of, like this season, in March and the season, the league's dead. That's not good enough right now for Arsenal. And
I feel like
you've got to have another great point where you say, do the board, what is their ambition?
That was Robbie's view. You can tell he's hurting. You can tell he's disillusioned with what's going on. Credit to him for staying out there and interviewing fans who, quite frankly, are not going to offer anything positive at the moment.
Not at the moment, no. It's a results-based business that we're in. Do you know what I mean? If you don't produce copy, I got white spaces. Do you know what I mean? And then we have another conversation, don't we? Yeah. So, it's a results-based business.
What needs to happen, Mike, in your opinion?
I reckon part of our current crop of players just need to go. They need to just literally just get rid of them. And if it's benching them, then you've got to bench them and take the loss, take the hit with money. I don't think the manager should get sacked. I don't think it should be that simple.
What, Wenger in?
I'm a Wenger in fan. Because
He's also a
like I
United
said,
fan.
well, we spoke to Robbie, like you said, a few weeks ago, and the ultimate conversation was based on if he's doing the job that the board want him to do. If he's doing the job, he's not doing nothing wrong. If they come out the Champions League and that was the job, then they've got all right to say, on your way, mate. That's the argument, really. And you did say, well, then the board should come out and let their fans know. Ultimately.
I mean, essentially, I just think the fans have been shortchanged. We talk about it all the time. In terms of they've got a manager who doesn't aspire to win stuff. They got all upset when Jose said he was a specialist in failure, but they didn't seem to read between the lines. You know, he doesn't have to win.
Yeah.
So if you're as black and white as Jose is, he's either winning or losing. You kind of understand where he was coming from. It was a dig. They've got history. We know what goes on there. But at the same time, if the directive from the top is you don't actually need to win anything because financially we're winning, then
job done.
The fans have been shortchanged because that hasn't been articulated to them, because I don't think they would be outside the ground talking about we're not going to win anything this year, because they would understand that actually it's not about that.
I think, listen, what we have is a scenario right now where it's really bad for Arsenal and the brown stuff's hitting the fan. But I think the challenge for most Arsenal fans, or a lot of Arsenal fans, is that to the month, to the day, to the performance, it all goes pear-shaped. Yeah. So if the directive from those above is what it is, balance sheet is great. Ooh, you're okay, Arsene. Fine. As you said, most expensive season tickets in Europe, let the fans know. I know people who are unemployed, have very little prospects in terms of society, but will still stump up the money to find to buy a ticket to go into Arsenal. Those are the people that need to be looked after. And I'd also say, while the manager is ultimately responsible, Ranieri, Chrissy Houghton at Newcastle years ago, there's a long list. The players have to be culpable as well, because I tell you what, and I say this respectfully to all the players because they're professionals, there are so many of the Arsenal squad or starting 11 where the jury is still out. And Mike's point, while I understand it, you can't get rid of the players in one fell swoop.
No, you can't.
Yeah, because there's too much going on. So football tradition is you have to get rid of the manager. There are internationals at Arsenal where the jury is still out. There are internationals at Arsenal who have been at the football club for a very, very long time, and the jury is out.
So let's look at it though, in the grand scheme of things. Looking at the players that have been brought in to do a job, what is the job the players are brought in to do? If they're very mediocre and the jury's still out, maybe it is to survive.
Well, put it this way, I mean, listen, many, many years ago I employed Joel Campbell, and I backed myself because I saw a talent and an ability which was obviously there in the first place and I could nurture. And that's the manager's job. Now, if Joel wasn't up to speed, I'd get it in the neck from my management. So we all know the rules. And all I'm saying is the manager, whether you like it or not, sets the template.
Sorry, the shareholder.
No.
The shareholder sets the template at Arsenal for the manager.
He's a shareholder, isn't he?
I don't know what his status is, but what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, the shareholders can have their views. The players have still got to go out and perform.
They've got to go and perform, definitely.
I don't think a player crosses the white line and think, oh, the shareholders are okay about it. Go and perform. And what we've seen in Bayern Munich, what we saw against Bournemouth, what we've seen, I could sit here and give you a long list, is and I'm going to call it a mental fragility that can't win a big game.
Interesting that, because that's Arsene Wenger's thing, isn't it?
Philosophy.
Belief, mentality.
Belief and mentality are wonderful words when you're reading the how-to books. Okay, you still need the fuel, and the fuel is action, determination. That's what you need. And I think if you put Antonio Conte, if you put Jose Mourinho, if you put the retired Alex Ferguson in charge of this same set of Arsenal players, different results, and the results would be some of them would go missing.
I was going to say, because if you look at Man United last year and what Jose done when he came in, he said, right, this is what's missing. Characters.
Do you know what I find interesting is that all the teams currently above Arsenal have had challenges in recent times. And all of them have dealt with them. Moisey was the chosen one. We had a look, 18 months, 2 years, no, it's not working. Let's deal with it. Even in the temporary scenario of Van Gaal, who actually won a trophy, by the way. And then we get the man we really want. So Pellegrini won Man City title.
That's right.
and was still not deemed a... So did Mancini, by the way.
And Mancini.
So when you think about it, it is no longer Man United will win the title, and if they don't, Arsenal will. The game has moved on, and I think Arsene Wenger has been left at the starting blocks of the next gen.
Excuse me, viewers, listeners. Who do you want next, Rods?
In terms of manager?
Yeah. And I'm not saying Wenger's going to go anytime soon.
Two people that I would hone in on. Sorry, three people. I'd like the boy Simeone at Atletico, but for him to come in, the board's attitude would have to change because we all know what he's like. I like the boy Sampali as well, doing a great job. Former Chile coach, and doing a great job for Sevilla.
I love that coach.
Potentially could win the La Liga, but he's a little bit like Simeone. He's not going to come and take nonsense. And I tell you a man I do like, who's won a title, has a profile, is Roberto Mancini.
What about Claudio?
Ranieri?
Yeah.
Taking a minute.
Are we going to hold on, are we going to an advert break right now? Are we going to an advert break?
It's funny because you've heard Ronald Koeman, you've heard various names mentioned with the job, but I like the Sampali connection.
I like Sampali.
I like him.
I
think he needs to come.
I think that when George Graham left, let's play the offside. Arsene was a change to that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know? I think we need another change again.
Right.
And I think that's the way to go. And I think what Arsene has done, and I'll tell you what, I do most of Arsene Wenger's press conferences. As a man, I'd invite him to my dinner table and have a conversation with him about sport and life. However, no one can say he hasn't had a fair crack of the whip.
Yeah.
20 years plus.
Wow.
The game has moved on, and I think where Arsenal are a little bit of a real oddity is that the style of football for X amount of time allowed them to be, I want to go Emirates, even as neutral fans, and see how Arsenal play. All of that has stopped because Tottenham play that way, Swansea on a good day play that way, Man United have always played that way, City play that way. So that's what I'm saying. While Arsenal have stayed static or even moved backwards, everybody else has moved forward. And I said to you this morning, the height of madness is to do what you've always done and expect the same result.
That's right. I've got a feeling we're going to talk about Arsenal again before the end of the season in terms of what they're doing and what they're not doing. Moving on, this week we've got FA Cup.
FA Cup, quarterfinals.
FA Cup fixtures.
Yeah.
Let's have a chat.
What we got? We got first game up is Middlesbrough versus Man City. Middlesbrough can't score any goals, so
formality, really.
That's a formality. Then you've got an interesting tie: Arsenal versus Lincoln. You know, Arsenal will take care of business with that. Poor Lincoln will be the rabbits in the headlights based on the Bayern Munich thrashing.
Might be 5-1.
Then you've got thank you. Then you've got Tottenham Millwall in a local derby, which I'm sure the police must have winced at when that draw came out. I think it's a 2 o'clock kickoff. What time do the pubs open? About 11?
It's not the pubs.
Legally. So
pubs ain't the problem.
That's going to be interesting. Tottenham will take care of business there. So far in the semi-finals at Wembley, back end of April, you've got Man City, Arsenal, and Tottenham. Big game though on Monday night. The piece to resistance: Chelsea versus Man United. That game, for me, was a 60-40 in Chelsea's favour. I think it's gone 70-30 now with Zlatan Ibrahimovic being suspended for 3 games.
I've got something to say about that. I
thought
think
you
that
would,
would actually help Man United.
You think?
I think so. I think when Man United have come against the top teams and played the structure that everybody predicts, they struggle or they draw. When they've had the unfortunate of an injury or a booking or the suspension that he's got, and then they've done something like throw Rashford up there, something remarkable.
Listen, it's a cup game, so there's no 3 points for a win and being cagey for a point. The one thing, though, that I've always noticed is that when Man United and Mourinho come back to West London, those Chelsea fans, those Chelsea supporters, those Chelsea players go 2 or 3 gears up again.
Up they notch it.
You ain't coming back having left the way that you left us, right? And he left them in good stead. They weren't the world's worst. But I just think the Hazards and the Costas and the Kantes will just go again.
I think it'll be a great measure to see what Mourinho learnt last time.
Absolutely.
And what can you do about it?
I'm hoping that Antonio Conte looks at his crowd on Monday and goes, come on. And winds it up. I tell you what, I'm gonna there's no replays in this, by the way.
No, that's right.
It's no replays, so it's got to be done on the day. I'm just gonna have to go with Chelsea. So that sets up a wonderful semi-final.
Yeah, that's right.
And I still tell you, and I said it to you a few weeks ago, Arsenal Tottenham will either be a semi-final or a final.
That'd be fantastic.
Imagine if it was one London derby, one Manchester derby. That'd be
That's the next thing.
Or you play Chelsea potentially,
Yeah,
and you got some revenge factors there, and then City play Arsenal. But I think this. I mean, listen, we do the semi-finals every year, and they're back to back, aren't they? And they're going to be great.
So no underdogs then.
I think Arsenal will be an underdog, but Arsenal are a cup team.
Yeah.
If Arsenal turn up for 90 minutes, they can beat anybody. And don't forget, they've got recent history of winning the cup.
Oh, yeah, back to back.
Oh, they can
they'd have been the most successful in that
Listen,
tournament.
they could beat any of those teams.
Yeah.
On their day.
On
when
their day.
Arsenal turn up.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that Wenger has been a lucky manager, because if you remember when Arsenal beat Hull to win their first FA Cup, 2014, went 2 goals down early, and you're thinking, this is it, Arsene.
Yeah.
And guess what? Turned it round. Listen, it's the luck of the draw, really, at the end of the day, but it's going to be great.
Well, that's been Global Sport in Colour podcast, exclusively for the Voice newspaper. Once again, look out for us on all platforms. I know there's going to be some interesting stuff to talk about next week. I've already got it planned. So make sure you tune in, guys, and look out for Rodney Hines' predictions. We'll see if he was spot on the money. No gambling on us. Yeah.